Guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming a book tag. It makes me a little bit sad to say that this is going to be the last video I'm filming in this apartment. I'm sorry if you can kind of see the chaos in the background of the moving. My next video is going to be in the new apartment, which is very exciting. So this book tag that I wanted to film today is called the 2 Books with 1 Stone tag. It was created by Sean the Book Maniac, and it was just very recently created, and I just came across it on YouTube and I was like, this is such a cool tag, like it's so unique and it's so interesting, so I thought, why not, let's do it. So I will put a link in the description for his video so you can go and check it out because it's super awesome. Yeah, let's just jump right into the questions. I'm excited. Question number 1 is the second last book that you just read. So I'm filming this very first thing in May, so the last things that I've read was in April. I haven't started reading my May books yet, but that would be The Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. The very last book I just read was Intercepted, and so this is my second to last book that I've just read, and this one was a very cute young adult LGBT contemporary magical realism story that takes place on an island, and it follows these 2 sisters and they have like magical powers, and it's just a really cute story. The second question says the second book from the top of your TBR. This one, I just got my May Book of the Month books in the mail yesterday, and I'm so freaking excited to read all 3 of these. So like, I don't know which one I'm planning on reading first. I just barely started Necessary People last night, so I guess that this is my like first read of May, maybe if I get through this one first. But I guess my second top one would be The Bride Test. That's probably the one that I'm going to start next. Really excited. Like, I really honestly want to read all 3 of these, so it could be any 3 of these books. Those are the books I'm probably planning on reading first, but I mean, it could be any of the books on my TBR, to be honest. I don't really know. I'm an impulsive reader. Question number 3 says 2 2-star reads. For that, I'm going to go with 2 books that I just recently read in April. The first one is Normal People by Sally Rooney, and the second one is Inspection by Josh Malerman. Both ended up being 2-star books for me, unfortunately, which was very sad because I was actually really excited about both of these. This one ended up being 2 stars because like I could not connect with the characters at all, and I just didn't really love this writing style. It had that obnoxious thing where the author doesn't use any quotation marks around dialogue, and I just really can't stand that writing style for some reason, so it didn't enjoy this one at all. And then this one was just very strange and like kind of confusing at times, and I just think that the author made a very huge oversight in the plot, and I don't know, I just did not like this one as much as I was hoping to. The 4th question says 2 great books by the same author, and for that I'm gonna go with Christina Lauren, and I'm gonna hold up The Unhoneymooners and Autobiography. These books are both 5 out of 5, some of my favorite freaking books of all time right here. This one actually goes on sale May 14th. It's their newest new adult romance novel, and these books are kind of different because this one is an LGBT young adult contemporary novel that follows these 2 boys, Tanner and Sebastian, and it takes place in like the Mormon community and the Mormon religion, and this one really confronts the fact that LGBT relationships aren't always accepted in religious communities, and it really like deals with that in a very real and sad way, and it's just a very beautiful gorgeous story. It's like literally one of my all-time favorites. And then The Unhoneymooners is like a very lighthearted new adult romance. It's like a rom-com. It's like it takes place in Hawaii, and it's like a hate to love romance, and there's a fake dating trope. It's just so much fun, so amazing. So both of these books are some of my all-time favorites, and they're very different, but it's all Christina Lauren. I just love Christina Lauren so flippin' much. One of my favorite authors ever. 5 says 2 bails, or 2 books you wish you'd bailed on, or 2 books you hated. These aren't necessarily books that I hated. I haven't really been keeping any books that I like absolutely hated, but one of the ones that comes to mind is Jane Doe. This is one I wish I bailed on because it was just so slow, and I ended up not really liking this. I think I ended up giving it like 2 or 3 stars, but this one claims that it's a thriller, but in my mind it's just a really cool revenge story, I guess, but like not exactly a thriller. It's just, it was kind of boring. And another one is Say You're Sorry by Karen Rose. This one I actually did bail on though. I bailed after 250 pages and it's 600 pages. I ended up bailing on it because it's a romantic thriller, but it's like, it follows the detective of this guy who's like tracking down this serial killer, and so like detective stories just kind of bore me for some reason, like I don't know why. Number 6 says 2 favorite reads so far this year. For that, I'm gonna go with The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna and The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I would also say The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. Like, these 3 are definitely all 5-star books and amazing, but since I already mentioned this book, I figured I would talk about these two. This one is like the best historical fiction novel that I've ever read, and it made me cry, and it's just a really freaking beautiful story, and I just loved it so much, and it follows two sisters in World War II. Yeah, it's not my usual read at all. Like, it's not something I would typically pick up, but wow, so amazing. And then The Silent Patient is a new thriller that I'm just absolutely obsessed with, and it was so amazing in that plot twist though. 7 says 2 new favorite booktubers. So the first one I'm gonna go with is my new BFF Jacqueline. Her channel is called We Be Bookin', and she is just my girl. She is just so amazing and lovely, and we just announced that we're doing a readathon together this summer, so if you haven't heard about that, I'll have to put the link in the description for that, but we're gonna do Romanceathon together this summer, and I just adore her so much, and she's such an amazing friend to me, and I just love her. So if you haven't watched her videos, like, you need to check her stuff out. Like, she deserves so many more subscribers because she's just amazing, and she's such an active reader in the community, and I just love her so much. The second booktuber I wanted to recommend is basically Brit. She is this super funny, super charming booktuber that I discovered somewhat recently, like probably in the last couple of months, I want to say, and her stuff is also just really, really great, and she deserves so many more subscribers as well. She is just so awesome and entertaining to watch. Number 8 says a book you've read twice. Since this year is the first year I've actually made rereading a priority, like I have my reread jar that I've been doing every month, but previous to this year, rereading is not something I've done super often. Like, there's only a handful of books that I've actually read twice before. One of those is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I actually just picked this book for my reread jar again, so I'm reading this one for the 3rd time this month. I actually just started listening to the audiobook today, and God, I just love this book so much. I think this one is going to become my most reread book after I finish this for the 3rd time, because I've only ever reread books once so far, because you guys, you know, I've only been an active reader, like an active reader, since like 2014. That was the first year where I've read a shit ton. So like, I've only been an active reader for the last 5 years, so I just haven't been rereading a lot because I've been discovering so much. So it's really exciting to finally read this book for a 3rd time. It's just so good, and Kath is me in fiction form, okay? Number 9 says 2 fabulous quotes from books you've read recently, and I'm actually gonna tell you 2 different quotes from The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin, because I just absolutely loved this book so much, and I read this book in March. The quotes from this book have just really stuck with me ever since I read it, and that's why I ended up loving this book so much. Like, not because I could relate to the characters as much, but just because the quotes in this book are so great, and like the discussion about fate and the universe and all that is just really fascinating in this. So I'm going to share with you 2 quotes from this book. The first one is on page 64, and it says, "Nobody picks their life. I sure didn't. Here's what happens. You make choices, and then they make choices. Your choices make choices. You go to college, my God, you finish high school, that's one way of tipping the odds in your favor. What you're doing right now, I don't know what the hell will happen to you, and neither do you." But that's the thing, I'm fine with not knowing. I'd rather not know. Already, like, to me, like, that was a very thought-provoking thing about our choices, and like, what choices do we have over the things that happen in our lives? You make some choices that may tip the odds in your favor, like finishing high school or finishing college, but then like, those choices also have consequences. The next quote is kind of about like religion, and like, I'm personally not a really religious person myself, so this quote really like spoke to me, and I found it like very fascinating, and this is on page 179. This one's kind of a bit of a longer one, so like, just give me a sec. It says, "His belief went willingly, logically, the way the boogeyman disappeared once you looked under the bed. That was the problem with God. He didn't hold up to a critical analysis. He couldn't stand for it. He disappeared." And then they're like, "Yeah, we'll talk of religion. It can make people pretty uncomfortable or defensive." And then he says, "In a way, I see religion as a pinnacle of human achievement. In inventing God, we've developed the ability to consider our own straits, and we've equipped him with the kind of handy loopholes that enable us to believe we only have so much control. The truth is that most people enjoy a certain level of impotence, but I think we do have control, so much that it scares us to death, and as a species, God might be the greatest gift we've ever given ourselves, the gift of sanity." He says, I think we need God for the same reason we need art, because it shows us what's possible." I don't know, like, I personally just found that quote very fascinating and interesting, and like, I don't know, like, whether you're religious or not, I think we can all agree, like, yeah, like, as a species, God might be the greatest gift we've ever given ourselves, the gift of sanity. Because I think people sometimes have a hard time explaining or wrapping their mind around the fact of, like, how humanity began on Earth. It's, like, all such a mystery, you know? So I like this idea of, like, like by inventing God, we've given ourselves sanity. Like we have something, we have like an answer, right? Something to blame if things don't go our way or whatever, you know? Like people blame everything on this God or whatever that may or may not exist. And I like that. I think we need God for the same reason we need art, to show us what's possible. Like, I don't know, just that whole passage to me is just so fascinating. And I'm sorry, like, I'm not trying to be, like, offensive or anything if you're, like, a religious person, but I really think that quote is really cool and really fascinating. That got really deep, sorry. Anyways, last question, number 10, says tag a number of booktubers. The total must be divisible by 2. So if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged, and the amount of people I tag is infinite. Is the number infinity divisible by 2? Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, if you have any thoughts on any of these books that I just mentioned, then let me know. And also, I'd be curious to know, like, what is your most reread book of all time? I mean, for most people, it's probably something like Harry Potter, or like, if you're really into a series, it's probably that. But like, me personally, I've never been super, like, obsessed with any series. So like, my most reread book of all time is currently Fangirl. I'm rereading it for the 3rd time. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys soon with a new video in my new apartment. I'll see y'all later. Bye!